Oh man. You know, there's a lot of places for these trailer light systems to fail, and I may have removed one, but I added another by simply not... I sure would love to be able to blame someone else for how smashed up my trailer lights are, but I am the worst culprit. I have a real good tendency to find things like trees and more trees whenever I'm backing up the trailer on my property when I'm trying to find a hole to store it. That one was just a light, but this one's gonna be even worse. Oh man. Let's see if we can get this done affordably and quickly. This one I'm really not proud of. We're not gonna touch that one because it's still working and it's generally pointing in the right direction. Now these need to get solved. We have firewood deliveries, and while this is not the most optimal trailer, this is what I've got to use. And I will put links to these brake lights I purchased off of Amazon. They were very affordable. I don't recall watching any videos on how to do this. It's not a very hard task, and when you look at it, everything is color-coded, as per shown on this sheet right here. You'll notice that we've got yellow and brown for the driver's side rear, and we have green and brown for the passenger side rear. And you might be wondering why I have this power station out here. No, it's not because I think you should buy it. In fact, I would recommend 100% against buying this unit. It's fairly problematic, but for a fan and a soldering iron, it ought to work well. I just don't like crimp connectors. I'm gonna start on the easy side because I don't have a bunch of metal to straighten out. A little bit of straightening wouldn't hurt. I've never done this before, so I really, I'm just going off of what looks to be a very simple schematic. I think you ought to be able to do this too. I'm cutting at the connector because I don't want to shorten up my wires any more than I have to. And while I did say that this was the straighter side, it's certainly far from perfect. That ought to help a little bit. So this is the yellow and brown side. One thing I did overlook is an eyelet for the ground. There's a small channel to be able to run the wire downward. It looks like they almost have a channel here too, but I wish you could go that way with it. Down it is. We're not going to put the license plate holder on it because in the state of Oklahoma we do not need it. And honestly, it just got tagged on everything. I really would prefer being able to run those wires the other direction, but we're just gonna go with that. Don't forget to plug in your soldering iron if you do it this way. It's always important to insulate electrical connections on any electrical work, but if you're gonna use heat shrink tubing, make sure you put it on before you make your connections or you're gonna be undoing it. Ask me how I know. The next ones I'm going to twist together so that way it's easier. For all the experts out there, tell me if I'm doing something totally stupid, but what I'm doing is I'm making my own eyelet. I don't have any crimp connectors here. So if you're doing this and you buy lights like this, make sure you have some sort of crimps if you want to do it that way. Next one I need to make a little bit bigger. Now it's time to see if it works. Beautiful. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I don't particularly like this eyelet thing I did, but I left enough room here where if I need to, I can go ahead and do that better. The reason why I didn't put it on the inside is because there's deformity here, and I'm worried that if I were to tighten it up, it may not tighten up on it all the way and be a loose ground. Let's work on the other side. see if I can get this better. This time I'm going to try to put the eyelid on the inside and see if it goes better. The only thing is if it fails, I won't be able to see it. Nah, I need to put it on the outside so that way it makes good connection. That really does need an eyelet. There's a saying I believe my wife coined, and that is mental debt. This is one more bit of mental debt off of my mind. I've driven this trailer numerous times with it really, frankly, being illegal. I don't even know if the lights were working. If they were pointing straight down to the ground. Now, as you can see, we've got working lights. We got the headlights on and the four-way flasher, so we have all of the circuits working. Not only that, but we made this housing sure a heck of a lot better. And if someone like myself quit hitting things, we'd be in good shape. Not only that, I did go ahead and get this housing straightened out as well. Quite a bit better. There's a couple things I learned about doing this project, and that is probably ought to have some crimping stuff, because everything in here is crimped, including the original connectors inside the light. See those right there? I'm like worried about soldering those connections, but those are all crimped as well. You know, there's a lot of places for these trailer light systems to fail, and I may have removed one, but I added another by simply not being prepared with crimp connectors because of that right there. Now, the cool thing about that being external is that if the light were to fail, I'll be able to see it exactly, because there's a high likelihood that that connection will just break. At that point, I'll probably need to have some crimp connectors, which I don't have any. You also want to have some tidy wiring. I'm not going to say that that's really fantastic, but you do not want wiring hanging down where it can get snagged. If you have any light troubles on your trailer at all, and you can isolate it down to the light, whether they're smashed or a single light starts flickering or is damaged or anything like that, just get it done. It was super affordable. I just needed to do it, and really the hardest part was straightening out the metal, and that wasn't even hard either. Just remember, you might want to be prepared with some butt connectors, or crimp connectors I should say, so you can put an eyelet on there and make your butt joints if you don't want to solder like I did. And I don't know if I would ever do that again realistically, because I had to drag out my power supply or electric cable out here. It was just something I thought I'd want to do, and after looking at how the lights were assembled in the first place, it's a complete waste of time. Thanks for watching the Okie Woodsman channel, and I will see you on the next one.